everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon. Today, guys, I'm going to be bringing you the Pluto in Virgo generations video. This is a video that is part of a series where I'm talking about the Pluto through the different generations and just giving you my overall perspective of what it actually symbolizes in your birth chart and as a generation, okay? So the first thing that I want to share with you guys is a little bit about the nature of Pluto in the astrology chart. I see Pluto as the symbol of evolution in that sense. I work as an evolutionary astrologer, so the idea about Pluto being something that creates evolution, in other words, or symbolizes the way that we understand evolution, is reflected through that symbol, okay, through Pluto. And the way that it works is that there are essentially two desires that exist in Pluto itself, okay? The soul, in that sense, cannot actually be understood through the human condition in that way. It's something that is essentially like intangible. It's like an energy form. Yet in the human condition, we can understand it as desire. In other words, what propels us, what gives us direction. We are always constantly desiring to experience things. And so when we desire something, it propels us in that direction. Simultaneously, when we choose to desire something, we're also desiring to do the opposite, right? So there's this dual desire within Pluto itself that reflects the nature of how we create evolution by following this or acting upon this instinct of desire. Now, when you have Pluto moving through Virgo, and this is your generation between 1957 and 1972, these souls have specifically come in with the sign of Pluto through Virgo, okay? Like I said. And what it means for you guys is that the essential aspect here is that you're coming through where the soul is intending to understand the nature of its inner psychology. Virgo as an archetype will correlate to how we are inwardly analyzing the nature of ourselves so that we can create necessary, it's like liberation from our restrictions and limitations. And when we when we analyze the inner nature of ourselves, we become more aware of who we are in relative to other people in the zodiac. It's like it's the energy of us understanding ourselves in the social context. Virgo and Pisces will naturally oppose each other, and Virgo and Pisces will also correlate to a gateway between the first 5 signs, which is Aries to Leo, and then of course Libra to Aquarius. And Libra to Aquarius will correlate to the objective world. So that Virgo archetype is about how we then create necessary humiliation in our consciousness, how we naturally put ourselves last, how we naturally create the smallness in us so that we can see the greater whole. And the reason why that's the case is because of the fact that in Leo, we were strengthening our ego, we were seeing ourselves as bold and brilliant, etc. But now we need to understand that everybody sees each other like that, and we need to kind of cohabitat in a way that is balanced. So Virgo correlates to humiliation to say, hey, by the way, you're not all that perfect, and that you can learn from other people. And you can give things to people that they can get help from, and so on and so forth. So with the Pluto and Virgo generation, you've come here to understand the relationship to yourself on a very deep and psychological level, okay? How you are, in a sense, becoming more self-improved, okay? You're improving yourself. You're essentially coming through where you're trying to understand the relationship you have to the universe in a way where you see yourself as the very smallest aspect. It's like you're standing on the beach, and you're staring up at the sky, and you see the cosmos, and you understand your relationship with the cosmos as being very, very small, and you understand your spirituality through that experience. So you've come through here to create necessary crisis in your life, to learn through the crisis of healing yourself. And healing now is an aspect of Virgo as well, and it's probably the highest octave of the constellation Virgo. And the reason why this is the case is because it correlates to the sacred goddess, okay? In other words, the mother of this experience, the goddess, the mother goddess, and creating sacred space and understanding the spiritual essence of who we are and our relationship to things. So when we are looking at ourselves as a Pluto Virgo generation, you're looking at experiencing a whole entire lifetime where you are understanding your relationship to the cosmos in a way where you're being of service to humanity. And you're also healing yourself through understanding your imperfections and then healing through those imperfections, okay, in that sense. Now, one of the things that's unfortunately very, very painful to experience with the Pluto and Virgo generation is that from the point of view of your actual soul's journey, you have come through with the vessel, in other words, the body vessel, to show humanity that the way that we have actually gone, or that we have gone, has been one where we have not actually been treating Mother Earth and treating the nature of our lives in a way that is healthy for us. Okay? And the way that this experience is that you've come here to show us how we have created dysfunction in lives, that we have created foods that are not in line with the essence of what our body needs, and so on and so forth. Okay? And part of that experience is that your vessel will create or have this condition in you where you can't rely on conventional methods to heal yourself, that you will have to understand alternative ways of actually understanding yourself and healing yourself. And every single one of you guys will have something that will experience that. Okay, that there's something wrong, not something wrong, but there's something part of your physical vessel that is incurable through conventional medicines, and you have to seek alternative medicines, and yet the alternative medicines are the ones that actually reflect natural healing properties and modalities. And it's that contrast between the things that are artificially made that are poisonous versus the things that are actually natural for us. So there will be that experience, and there will also be experiences in your life where you'll need to sacrifice yourself to show us the nature of what your polarity point is, which is Pisces. And Pisces correlates to what? The ultimate connection. So you're showing us through your life the ultimate connection by having to surrender to something that you literally have to surrender to. There's no way out of it. Whatever that might be, you've had to literally surrender to it. And it's your body that comes through as a vehicle that shows us this message of how important it is to look after our environment in a very clear way, how to look after our emotional self, because all those things influence our health, etc., etc. How to be very specific to create sacred space in that sense, and to be in harmonics with our environment in that way. It's really important that you are in harmony with your environment, because that's what shows you your illness inside of yourself. Now, the next thing is that you guys would also come through with an incredible amount of judgment and guilt and criticism, and that there's something wrong with you. Now, a large part of this experience has been that you guys are naturally coming through across many, many different Earth timelines associated with understanding the nature of the cosmos and life and healing through the shamanistic ways of living, right? Pre 6,000 years ago, you guys would have been healers. You guys would have been natural medicine healers in that sense, shamans, etc. Yet as patriarchy has progressively taken over, and we had the institution of religious institutional conditioning, and that we had to obey the sky god, you guys have naturally gravitated towards those types of environments and lives where you've internalized an incredible amount of these spiritual teachings that have reflected the God outside of yourselves. And this reflection has also created that there is an inherent imperfection in us, and that we need to punish ourselves in order to experience love. In other words, to get to heaven, we need to, forgive ourselves for our sins, etc. And a part of this internalization has caused an incredible amount of sense of lack, that there's something missing in me and that I don't know what it is. And it's because of the spiritual disconnection that's taken place in terms of your consciousness. So when you guys were born, between that period of time that I mentioned earlier, in the 1960s, we had Uranus making a conjunction to your Pluto in Virgo. Now, for many, many of you guys, that Uranus conjunct Pluto shattered the soul completely. I mean, Uranus conjunct Pluto correlates to souls that are manifesting an ultimate shattering of the soul's dynamics at the chorus level, which is why you guys will even feel like you can't even understand yourselves in some way, that there's an identity crisis, etc., because your soul has literally shattered itself in order to break free from the shackles that have been conditioning itself over the last 2,000 years and so on and so forth, to break free. So this is a new evolutionary cycle for you guys, where you're learning to put back to the pieces in a way that is reflective of your true nature versus the one that has been of the past. So a large part of this lifetime is about understanding that experience, which is why you guys will now manifest through Neptune in Scorpio. Most of you guys will have Neptune in Scorpio. And what it symbolizes over here is two things. One, the commitment to God, i.e. the commitment to love, or the commitment to source. In other words, your polarity point of Virgo is Pisces. Pisces and Neptune are the same thing, right? Virgo and Scorpio naturally sextile each other, which creates the inner psychological healing process that is necessary for you guys to put all the pieces back together after this Uranus conjunction. So this incredible amount of healing, psychological healing is taking place, but also there is this need to commit to the spirituality, commit to the source, commit to the love on all accounts. Yet at the same time, there's a complete abandonment of it because of the fact that what has symbolized God over the last 2,000 years has not been the essence of what it has, and deep down inside you guys know that. And so therefore there has been where you guys are brought up into this environment where you'll have like religious conditioning imposed on you when you were younger. And some of you guys would have internalized that stuff, and some of you guys wouldn't. But it would have been present over there, like Catholic upbringing or Christian upbringing, etc., etc. And you guys would have, depending on where the conjunction is in your astrology chart, it's getting into something deeper over there. But the point here is that you will come through with this early in life environment, being exposed to it, and yet you'll have this disdain for it. You'll know all the types of belief systems, etc., but you'll know that the ultimate connection is really the connection to source, which is love, and that's what heals you. And it is that relationship that you guys are actually coming through, manifesting Neptune and Scorpio, where you need to commit to it relative to the experience of having to, like, literally in your environment, notice that there isn't any, like the abandonment of God, the betrayal of God, i.e. that when you guys were born, we had the nuclear missile crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis. We had the incredible amounts of like deaths and war, the Vietnam War, for instance. And this showed that how could a loving God, right, that loves us so much, create so much destruction and war in the world? So it's like, nope, this guy doesn't exist. It's a lot of like nonsense and so on and so forth. So the abandonment completely of spirituality, which is the very essence of what your soul actually needs in the sense. So a large part of that experience is actually having to understand the essence of what God is. In other words, to return back to source, that we are the source of creation and that God is us. I.e., therefore, we have created these wars things. That's our responsibility to fix that through experiencing what? Spread love, make love, not war, which was the slogan at that point in time. And that was the whole experience. So it's an interesting thing to ponder about over there, guys. So yeah, I'm going to leave it over there. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and it gave you more to understanding the nature of Pluto through Virgo. And yeah, so guys, if you enjoyed this, hit the like and